Yo, shout out to Kenny for the video. The NBA MVP race is insane right now. I've never talked about the MVP race so far yet. It's definitely heating up, y'all. It's definitely heating up. I said this going into the year. I think my top 3 was Jokic. I forgot if I said Giannis or Embiid. I think I'm going to go Giannis with what I said. And then Shea. And then Embiid, I think, is how I went. Looking at it right now, I was not that far off. So far. I think the B-Ball reference MVP list right now is exactly in that order. I know ball. Actually, no, it's not in that order. It's Joel Embiid, Giannis, Shea, and Jokic. I think that's the order right now. Embiid, Luka, Giannis. I don't think Luka's in there because I saw people being mad that Luka wasn't in there. So
maybe I'm bugging, but this feels like the craziest MVP race in recent history.
Ron, what's her attitude?
And I mean in the sense of how many people are still in it. We're a quarter of the way through the NBA season. And I feel like at this point every year, we basically have already narrowed it down to like the final 3, and we just fluctuate between the final 3. Right now, I honestly do believe, and this is just my opinion, that there's 5 very, very, very real candidates that if they are raising the trophy at the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised. Who are those 5 candidates, Kenny? It's Jokic, it's Embiid, it's Giannis, it's Luka, and it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And you know what's crazy about it? A guy like Jason Tatum, who's having a phenomenal season on the best team in the league, it's not.
It's cool, man. Kenny, it's cool, man. It's cool. You ain't gotta mention my guy, man. It's cool. He's just not an MVP winner type of dude. You know what I'm saying? He's about team success. You know, he's about making the right play. He's about what is it gonna take for us to raise banner 18. You know what I'm saying? He's not really worried about them MVP awards. He's fine with All-Star starter and All-NBA every single year. You know, I just don't think he's an MVP guy, which is fine. It's fine. Listen, Kobe only got 1 MVP in his career. You know what I'm saying? And even that, like, he arguably robbed that from Chris Paul. You know? It's cool, though. It's cool.
Not even really in the running. He probably should be. But right now, I'm going to say this is a 5-man race currently. And just 3 days ago, the NBA put out their own personal MVP ladder. And let's go through it because I haven't read it just yet. It's going to have Joel Embiid at number 1. That makes sense. These are his averages. As of right now, I saw it on Twitter. He is averaging more points per game than minutes. Ridiculous stuff. Number 2 on their list is Nikola Jokic. Number 3 on their list is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 4 on their list is Shea. And number 5 is Luka Doncic. And then the next 5. Okay, so Jason Tatum is in the next 5, but he's not, I guess, in the top 5. And I think this is maybe not the order. I don't know if I agree with the exact order, but they have the right 5 players there. And I kind of want to give an argument for every single one of these people. And y'all let me know in the comment section if the season were to end today, who is your guy? Quick plug. The Kenny Pizza Podcast had NBA champion Michael Porter Jr. on the show. It just dropped. The links will be in the description on Spotify, on Apple, here on YouTube as well. It was a really cool moment because I talked to MPJ about it. This is not our first time technically meeting because we met back right before he got drafted into the NBA. And it's crazy. So it was a very great interview. He gave us some very candid
Young Kenny.
answers about his recovery from his injuries, from his championship run, and so on and so forth. So please go show some love as we continue to get MVP.
Oh, shout out to Kenny too, because in terms of the creators that like are gonna start streaming next year, and maybe I don't know, but he sounded serious about it. I saw Kenny streaming this weekend, and it was funny because he literally, because we know Kenny, right? Like every single one of his channels is about basketball or sports in some capacity, and it was like, yeah, 2024, I'm gonna take streaming seriously. No basketball though, no basketball. But chat wanted him to play basketball so fucking... Not even talk about ball so bad. It was crazy. And it just reminded me of my audience. I ain't gonna lie. Because I know right now, we got 100 in here. I turn on Baldur's Gate 3. That shit gonna drop to 60. You know what I'm saying? So I think he had like 1,200 in the room. He started playing Minecraft. That shit went down to 900, which is still like... Yo, that's double what the pod gets this day and age. You know what I'm saying? But... Damn, that's, you know... It's the pros and cons of niching down. I don't want to get into it right now, but the pros of niching down is you definitely know your fucking audience, and it makes the job easier. But in terms of like having an outlet where you can just do whatever, man.
NBA talent on the show. That's all I gotta say. Here are Joel Embiid's numbers. This is straight out of NBA 2K My Career, by the way. This month, 6 games into it, he is...
Bro, Embiid is nuts. Embiid is nuts, man. And I want to emphasize this right now because obviously I've been a critical critique of Embiid in the past. Embiid is a monster, bro. Like, this, especially in the regular season, dude is one of the best to ever do it, man. Like, Jesus Christ.
He's averaging an even 40 points per game.
He's on his pace to win his third.
Getting about 13 rebounds per game, 4 assists. He is shooting 62% from the field, 41% from 3, and 92% from the free throw line. It makes no sense, especially when you look at these last 3 games. He didn't even play the fourth quarter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, some people that are going to be skeptics or trying to pull hairs, and I think when you are trying to decide an MVP race that is this very close, I think it's okay to nitpick. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying to go too crazy, but I'm just saying if you're trying to figure out between him and this other player who are very similar in statistics and advanced statistics and the eye test, I think it's okay because you need to find whatever the differentiator is for you personally. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing that people are going to mention, cakewalk of a schedule recently. Cakewalk of a schedule. Charlotte, Detroit twice, Washington twice, and Atlanta squeezed in the middle. That's as easy as a 6-game like span as you can get in the association right now. But still, personally, you still got to get the stats. You still got to win the games. And he's actively doing that. Also, people are going to look at this part. These things that at this point in my life, as far as an NBA fandom go, these things don't bother as much as they might have done years ago. I'm not tripping about the fact that nobody on the Pistons can guard him, so he's going to get more fouls. I don't care about that really.
But the only reason Kenny's saying that is because we're used to it, to be honest with you. And I've even gotten to that point with Embiid where like I'm just used to it. I'm just used to people drawing fouls and shit like that. But it shouldn't be normalized. It shouldn't be normalized, but it is. You know what I'm saying? And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. But Embiid is a nasty dude, man. He is too big to be flopping like that. I was saying the same thing about LeBron in Miami. Yo, do y'all remember LeBron in Miami and how much shit he was getting for flopping back then, man? LaFlop James. I'm glad that's not a narrative with LeBron anymore. LaFlop James was an era. But nah, in today's day and age, that's Embiid, man. You are too big to be flopping like that. But if it works, it works. If it works, it works. You know, I had the same sentiment about James Harden in his prime. Yes, it's annoying, but I'm not too mad at it.
And you know, the MVP award is a combination of counter stats, advanced stats, and whether people believe it or not, it also has a bunch of, I guess, narrative-driven things as well. He has one of the best narratives in all of basketball when it comes to the MVP race, considering they traded away James Harden for a bag of bones. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. Well, I guess it is negative, but like in a condescending sense. You trade away a guy that was borderline All-NBA last season for a bunch of role players, and you're still 18-7 through the first quarter of the season. Like, the narrative is, hey, we got James out the door, and we're still great. Part of that, of course, is Tyrese Maxey taking the jump, but also because I am better than I was last year. And do I need to remind you that last year I won the MVP award? Here's Nikola Jokic's game log and everything. He's averaging 27, 12, and 9.5, so borderline triple-double through the first quarter of the season. I think that early on in the year, when he started off the year like this, people are like, oh, yeah, this is another MVP for Jokic. But since then, he's kind of slowed down a little bit. He's had the ejection in Chicago. He had an ejection in Detroit, and he also had two of his worst shooting games back to back here. Like a 9 of 32. Shout out to the Clippers for clamping up, and shout out to the Houston Rockets also for clamping up. Those two games are kind of like, again, when you're pulling hairs, those are the ones that stand out like a sore thumb. But overall, again, when you're averaging 27, 12, and 9.5, close to a triple-double from the center position, you're going to be in the conversations nonetheless. And when I interviewed Michael Porter Jr., again, link is in the description, he mentioned that they are very aware that they're going through like championship hangover, coming off that championship run. They had less of time in the offseason to spend with family and do vacation and stuff. So not just Yoke, but like pretty much a lot of people on their team is kind of experiencing that down season, if you want to call it that. I mean, you're looking at Jokic at 27, 12, and 9.5. I can't even call it a down season, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So maybe by the end of this, when we get to April, these numbers are even better because now he's more removed from that championship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to put a needle on it, but I didn't want to make too much assumptions. The Nuggets don't look like they're trying as hard in the regular season. It does look like they're coasting, which is crazy because if this is Jokic coasting, then this is Jokic. Like, sometimes I watch the Nuggets play and it just looks like they're fucking trolling out there. You know what I'm saying? And the standard for Jokic is so high that he would have to do some nut shit to win MVP again this year. And I just don't think he's been doing that nut shit, which is crazy because he has been doing some nut shit. But I've already said nut too many times in the last minute for me to say it again. You know what I'm saying? Let me look at his stats real quick. Like, this season, 27, 12, and 10 is still 27, 12, and 10. But the drop off in field goal percentage from 63 to 54, which is 9%. You just can't ignore that. The drop off from 38 to 31, you just can't ignore that. The drop off from 82 to 79, I guess you can ignore that, but still, a lot of 80s, and then you see the first 70 on here. So yeah, he's definitely taking more shots this year, which is why the efficiency has gone down. But still, with Jokic and the standard that he's shown in the past, when he shot 18 attempts before, he can definitely still be more efficient. His true shooting percentage so far this year is 61%. Again, this is a dude where ever since 2021, we're used to 65 plus from this dude, and he's doing 61%. Compared to Embiid, you know what I'm saying? He's improved in scoring, which is crazy to say. You know how crazy it is for me to say that Joel Embiid is having a better scoring season after he averaged 33 points on 55, 33, 86 splits. That's the type of season Embiid is having. Because this season, the volume is up. And I believe the efficiency is up. So yeah, actually it's down. God damn. Those free throws are fucking carrying. But yeah, the volume is up. In my opinion, the efficiency is still like, relative to volume, still fucking insane. It's still, yeah. That's still insane. And also, he's improved his playmaking. Averaging 6 assists so far this season. And even if you watch the games, he's making better reads out of the double team, which I am personally going to credit that to Nick Nurse. But hey, Embiid still got to make those reads. And he's been doing much better this season. Rebounding, this is, I believe, okay, not a career high. Damn. Embiid averaged 14 rebounds a game back then. What the fuck happened? But yeah, 34, 12, and 6 is insane, y'all. While still having one of the best records in the East at 18 and 7. What is that on pace for? 18 and 7 is 18 divided by 25 times 82. That's a 59 win pace. These numbers on a 59 win pace when Jokic is still putting up ridiculous numbers. But the scoring is down. The defensive gap, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough because genuinely, it's one of those things where, like, I still think Jokic is the better player, but Embiid is having a better season, if that makes sense. I think this year the winning is going to favor Embiid more, and the statistics is going to favor Embiid more as well. And then Giannis. I haven't even mentioned Giannis. Let's talk about Giannis in this case. Yeah, Giannis is jeez. 31, 11, and 5. Oh my God. He's having a career year in efficiency in a career of already insane efficiency. Like, What is his true shooting percentage? Giannis's true shooting percentage is a career high. Like, oh my God. These players are going crazy. These players are going crazy.
It's so interesting to see because when Jokic was winning his MVPs, of course he was doing amazing stuff. The Denver Nuggets were a way better basketball team than if he wasn't on the team. You talk about the injury-riddled seasons when he was still carrying them to the playoffs and stuff. But one thing that he definitely had over Joel Embiid in those same races was that the advanced stats absolutely loved him. While they still love Joel Embiid, but they definitely love Nikola Jokic more. Now we're at a point in time where Joel Embiid's advanced stats are as good and in a lot of cases better than JoJo's. I guess than Jokic is what I meant. And that's kind of going to get me into my number 3 player on this list. EPM is estimated plus minus. It's like an all-inclusive statistic that a lot of NBA nerds, if you want to call them that, absolutely love, because obviously there's no one statistic that's going to, be able to cover everything, but it is the one that most people believe to be the most indicative of like how impactful an NBA player is.
So Tatum just
and
not
right
on
now
list, huh?
Through the first 22 games of the season for Joel Embiid, at least he is a full point ahead of number 2 Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in EPM. So again, that gives me to my next person, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I have to kind of put my own biases to the side because I've been a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander fan since the first moment I watched him play Summer League ball. I didn't think he was going to turn into a superstar. Like, I'm being honest with you. I was like, this guy is a tall point guard that could do a little bit of everything. Jump shot ain't really there, but I believe in him as a player. Again, I didn't think he was going to be a superstar, but now he is that. I'm like, okay, I got to put that to the side because I have to be objective when I'm doing my job and everything. But Shai, if you ask me, Shai's in top 2. I honestly do think that he's
top 2. He's
got above.
Let me see what the numbers he's pulling up, man. Top 2. This is gonna be an interesting race though, because I know that the narrative people, and not even just the like traditional narrative people. I'm talking about the let's stay consistent with the narrative people. It's gonna be hard to stay consistent this year with the way these players are playing. So Shai is damn. He definitely picked it up. I was checking these numbers 10 games ago, and they did not look like this. First 15 games. When was I checking where they didn't look like this? I swear to God, bro. Maybe first 11. Yeah, these were the numbers I was looking at, first 11. But, yeah, hold on. 31 points, 6 assists, 5.5 rebounds, 54% from the field. My God, 32% from 3, 91% from the line, getting there 8 times a game too. 2.7 steals. That has been great to see. And what record did they have? They have the second best record in the West. Jeez.
Nikola Jokic currently. Here's the game log. Last game, he only shot 45%, but he ended up hitting the game winner against the defending champion. Game before that, they ended up losing 43 points, 30, 38, 33, and then a smooth 17 points. You know, I ain't got to be too crazy. The overall counter stats on the season is 31 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and his team, the OKC Thunder, are the number 2 seed in the Western Conference with a 16-8 record. And they're doing this while simultaneously being one of the youngest teams in all of basketball. I mentioned the game winner versus the Denver Nuggets. That is not his first game winner of the season. We've also seen moments and times where, I guess you could say this about all the MVP candidates, and that's why the MVP candidates, but I don't know, he has kind of stand out a little bit more where he completely takes over a game. The one game that comes to mind immediately when I think about that is the game where they're going against the Golden State Warriors. Y'all might remember it for the game that Chet Holmgren hit this turnaround 3-point shot in the corner to send it to OT. And that overtime, that is one of the most dominant overtimes I have ever seen from a player. That's what Shai was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he does this where he can just lock in and take over a game. He's silky smooth. And now, over the last year or so, he's becoming a two-way player where if you ask me my all-defensive team, I ain't got it for you. But I know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's in the conversations at least. So if you're trying to tell me that he's great on the defensive side of the ball and he's carrying the offensive load as the number 2 seed in the Western Conference,
carrying is crazy.
I don't know what else I could really say.
There's too much talent on the OKC Thunder for you to say Shai is carrying that offense. I will say that. That's kind of wild. To me. Obviously, 30's 30, but carrying's crazy.
About him other than that guy is him. Next guy is going to be Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo. 31 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 62% from field. He's having a phenomenal year. And that's coming off and that's accounting for the first couple games or so of the season where, they were trying to figure each other out, him and Damian Lillard, where he started off only 27 points per game. Giannis, that's not you.
Shea calling Golden State the Shea area was crazy. When the fuck did he do that? Yo, the Shea area? I wouldn't take that disrespect if I'm Golden State. On Instagram, me personally, if I'm Curry, I'm dropping 50 the next time you come around. Dead ass. I don't know when that third game is gonna be. I'm not letting that slide. Shea area? You think this is LeBronto? No, sir.
And then, of course, he had that monster game.
Shea ain't DeMar now.
64 points. I know a lot of people have their opinions about that. But I don't care. He shot 30. I forgot he shot 32 free throws. Bro, shooting 32 free throws is crazy. He did it. And, of course, they had the ball incident with the Pacers. And they go against the Pacers in the next week or so. So I'm excited to see that matchup because James Johnson is now there. And I'm assuming James Johnson will check in and throw an elbow or two. But Giannis is having one of his better seasons, at least offensively. Defensively, he's still pretty good. But maybe not. Already. The 1 year he won DPOY and MVP. I don't think that's happening again this year. But, boy, has he been on a whole nother level, especially since they started to gel a little bit more. I don't know. I guess I really just like a player of his dominance and the way he does it, where there are a lot of players in the NBA that have very similar games. There's nobody that's playing the game like Giannis. And I'm not saying that's a case for him as an MVP candidate, but I'm just saying in general why I enjoy watching Giannis play. And the last guy on the list is Luka Doncic. Luka on the season is averaging 32, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, almost 50% from the field. And he's doing ridiculous stuff as well, where, you have the one game versus the Utah Jazz, a 40-point triple-double where he didn't even have to play in the fourth quarter. We had the other game versus the Portland Trail Blazers where he had a 40-point triple-double and he didn't have to do anything in the fourth quarter. So, he's consistently having ridiculous first halves. Pretty much in every single one of his recent games, he's going into halftime with 20 to 28 points. And just having a bunch of wins, too. And I think that's helping his case because historically, his teams have been good, but maybe not necessarily great. And right now, they're the 3 seed. That's good enough, in my opinion. Historically, you just have to be one of the top-ish teams in basketball, and he's always set around 4 to 5 to sometimes missing it completely. The one thing that sucks for Luka Doncic, though, and the reason why he doesn't get as much love as some of the other guys is because he came into the league so dominant that every year just feels like, oh, he's Luka Doncic, instead of taking a step back and really admiring the stuff that he's really doing. When you come into
I don't know, because the way I view the MVP race is just a season by season. So when you look at the last 3 years, Luka had crazy stats. And this is why I also think Jason Tatum was just never going to be in MVP conversation, is because so many other people are putting up crazy stats and winning games. You know what I'm saying? So yes, Luka is putting up 38 and 8. But Jokic is doing 25, 10, and 10 and having the best record in the West. Luka's putting up 38 and 8, but Giannis is putting up 32, 12, and 5 while being a 60-win team in the East. Luka is putting up 38 and 8 while Joel Embiid has the best record in the East as well and is putting up 33, 12, and 4 with 2 blocks a game. You know what I'm saying? So when Luka's doing 38 and 8, and the Mavs are the 7th seed, 8th seed playing team, it's kind of the case isn't really there. Obviously good enough to be in the best point guard conversations. Obviously good enough to be an All-NBA first team player, but I don't know. Luka has a better record than Jokic, doesn't he? Right now, yes. Right now, I believe so. Right now, yeah. Well, winning percentage-wise, yeah, but essentially they have the same record. And from a numbers perspective, would you even give it to Luka? From a numbers perspective, would you give it to Luka over Jokic? I don't. Listen, Efficiency wise, Jokic is having a down year, but let's not get it twisted now. Let's not get it twisted.
To the league as good as he has, you kind of take it for granted so fast. And we talk about a player, year 5, year 6 of his career, and we're just used to these things. But these things are not normal. They're Luka Doncic normal, but they shouldn't be our normal as NBA fans. It's just a crazy amount of guys that's still doing it at a high level. Now, knock on wood or whatever, a lot of times we're gonna have these type of races. The one thing is like, the amount of games played, especially this year, when you have to play, I think, 65 games to really get an award like this. So who can stay healthy? Who's going to play as much basketball as possible? That might have some people fall out of the race, so on and so forth. Some teams might fall out of their positioning in the standings, and ultimately that might pull some people down. But for the most part, there are 5 MVP candidates in my eyes doing amazing stuff. Actually, Tatum, I'm putting you in there. 6 MVP candidates in my eyes. And I just don't know if the season ended today. You know what? Let's do it. I'll probably put JoJo 1. Shea 2, Giannis 3, Joker 4, Luka 5. Maybe. I don't know. You let me know in the comment section how you would rank them. Candy Beach and Podcast. Michael Porter Jr. It's out right now.
I'm gonna be honest. I think because of how close all of these guys are statistically, and also how close these guys are record-wise, I think the race is gonna come down to who finishes the season stronger. No cap. Because these are December games we're talking about, but if Jokic goes on a crazy run the last 2 months of the season while still being a top 4 seed in the West, and he's putting up 33, 12, and 10, I think that's going to be enough to close it out. Same thing with Embiid. If he finishes the season strong and is keeping up these 40 balls while still being at that 60-win pace that I talked about earlier, then Embiid got it. Same thing with Luka, and same thing with Giannis. Because Giannis goes on these stretches of just like 35 and 15 games like it's nothing. And the Bucks are still good enough to be, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have the second best record in the league. You know what I'm saying? So I think ultimately this race is going to come down to who finishes the season strong, who is going to have those moments at the end of the season. The way Embiid had that like 60-point game versus the Celtics last season. For some reason, a lot of people closed the conversation after that moment. Even years back when Russ had that game winner against Denver, that the conversation was over by the end of that season. It was about who finished the season stronger. And looking back, I think now that really is what the MVP race is. Kind of sad, kind of not. But yeah, if you just look at how they voted, it is like, I would like to check. But 8 times out of 10, it just seems like who is finishing the season strongest. Right, April, June is heavy overrated in the MVP discourse. That's why Joel won it for real. Yeah, I would say that's gonna be it.